Financing
Sure.
obviously is, there's lots of changes happening. There's lots of talks. There's lots of, increases and talks of increases. But in general, what do we need to look out for?
Well, the sky's not falling, but rates are going up. Okay. So I think, we've all seen the fixed rates versus variable rates. Fixed rates have gone up steadily over the past, well, really 6 months. Now we've just started to see the variable rates go up too. And, I like to put things into perspective. When you go back to 2018, 19, 5-year money was at around 4%, just under 4%. So now you see 5-year money at 4% right now. And the bankers, when I talk to my really nerdy banker friends like myself, normal interest rates, they do want to see them around the 5. So I wouldn't be shocked to see the bank rate getting up to, over the next 6 months, 4.5 to 5% on the fixed side. So just be aware. I think that's going to happen. The
Right.
banks were operating at really small spreads. I don't want to cry the blues for the banks. They did okay, right? But they normally operate at bigger spreads, and by raising the rates, they're going to be able to do that. And then I think, we have the variable rate. The Bank of Canada made the 0.5 point increase last week, seems like forever ago, but last week. And then they don't meet again until June, right? So I think, brace yourself, because I think the inflation numbers, for those of you who saw it, just came out today, and they're at a 31-year high. It was a 6.7% for inflation for March. And that was higher than what people expected. So I think, in inflation, I always equate it to like a fast moving train. We up the rates by 0.5 point, try to slam on the brakes to slow down inflation. That's why they raised the rate. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see in June another 1/4 to 0.5 point rise on that variable rate. It wouldn't shock me, right? I think it's really going to come down to what is that inflationary number that comes out next month, right? When it comes out in April. So if that number's high, expect a 0.5 point increase again. If it's coming down, the one cool thing that I did notice in the articles the economists are saying right now is it's the first time they've said our inflation might have peaked. No one said that before. So by them saying it might have peaked, that's actually a really good sign to say, well, maybe we're on the down end. And I always look at it like this. Like I love car racing games. Okay. So I've got a point here. Okay. But like inflation and the government of Canada, when they end up using rates to go up and down, I think about it like that car game. In a car game and you go left and then you got to you went too far left. So now you got to go right again and you're trying to straighten out the car. Well, I think with the government of Canada, they're a lot smarter than me playing a car game. But the idea is that when they raise rates, we always forget because we get kind of nearsighted and we think rates are going up, rates are going up, rates are going up. Well, if the rates go up another 0.5 point in June and we have maybe, other changes that happen, and then that actually slows down the economy, has the intended consequence, and actually they went too far. And if spending slows down and stops and they actually get borderline recession, what's the tool to stop a recession? You decrease rates, right? So I wouldn't be surprised that if we see a 1/4 or 1/2 in June, that, I would be surprised to see a 1/4 or 1/2 in June and then continue along that trajectory in the fall. Just the way things are looking right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 1/4 and 1/2 over the next 2 months, and then possibly a level out. You might even see a drop in the fall again too, when it comes down to interest rates. So I think, when you're looking at your numbers as savvy investors, right? Like what we do with all our clients is build in that surplus, run your numbers on the cash flow based on the variable, going up a 1/4, going up a 1/2, going up another 1/4, do a cash flow analysis on yourself. And if you're really losing sleep, build in a buffer zone, right? Build in that buffer zone as if it's going to go up, right? And, a really quick and dirty way to do it, $25 per 100,000 on a 0.5 point increase. Because the 0.5 point that just went up in April, a lot of you won't actually see it or feel it until May, because typically if you have a variable rate mortgage, it won't come into effect until the next month.